So are you ready for the top 5 movies of 1984?
Yeah, we'll do the top five. Yay.
Yay,
Not
we're
gonna get
back,
too much.
baby.
Can't move around too much.
No worries. Let's get to it. So who wants to start first?
I can't remember who started last, so I'll start first.
All right.
Uh, this appears to be the Mel Gibson era.
Yes.
So uh, another one of his movies, The Bounty.
Ah, yes. Okay.
And actually, I like this version better than the early version, the Mutiny on the Bounty, which I
Uh-huh.
think came out like maybe in the late 30s or something.
Right.
Uh, this one is based on the book about the my brain is gone too from brain fog. Uh, when they tried Captain Bligh for losing the bounty. So it
Okay.
started out that way, and then they were telling the story about uh, you know the bounty and stuff, and
Right.
the rebellion and Mr. Christian. But it was really well done. Uh,
Wasn't Anthony Hopkins in this also, or am I
Anthony
wrong?
Hopkins, yes,
Okay.
yeah. He was Captain Bligh.
Right, right. I think I've seen it
Uh,
once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so besides the story of the rebellion, it was the amazing story of Captain Bligh getting back to civilization after he was marooned in a rowboat with
Right.
a couple of the other people that did not participate in the bounty. But they did the story really well. It was really good from beginning to the end.
Yeah, I need to revisit that one because I remember just like bits of it, but
Yeah, I mean, because they were laid over in Tahiti
mhm.
because they had like storm damage, and and then like all uh, military protocol was shot to hell. So
Okay.
then when we were going back, nobody wanted to do anything.
Yeah.
They were there with the native women. They actually even married some of them. And
Yeah.
they couldn't bring them with them. So it was a total mess.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, good pick. So my number 5, I'm gonna connect the dots from Anthony Hopkins, who starred in Silence of the Lambs, which was directed by Jonathan Demme, who also directed Stop Making Sense, the Talking Heads concert movie, is my number 5.
The talking heads concert movie. My God. All right.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
it's I had to just at least mention it on my list. I almost just put it as an honorable mention because it's not a true movie,
Right.
but it's one of my favorite concert movies of all time because it's just such a fun uh, concert. The Talking Heads are one of those bands from the 80s. That's really when they got well known in the MTV era because their music was so unusual. And but songs like Burning Down the House and Once in a Lifetime, they're real catchy. And this concert really shows just how just uplifting their music was. Like they're doing dance moves and all this stuff. And Demi, the director, he really kind of captured that in a way that I think it showed a different side of them that was even more fun than people already thought. So, yeah, I had to at least mention it. I know it won't make our combined list, but
No, definitely not.
okay. Well, it's worth checking out, though. Even if you're not a fan of them, it might be like one of those things like The Last Waltz, like we've mentioned many times.
Right.
That was the movie that got me into the band. This could be a movie that gets people into Talking Heads.
Okay.
So, all right. So now, what's your number 4?
Number four, Terminator.
Ah, okay. Nope, not on my list.
Yeah, I had to put it on there because it was the groundbreaking movie that started all the other Terminator,
Yeah.
movies. Even though I still feel that the second one is the better one.
Right.
But this started it off. And the thing is, it just seems to be becoming more and more important in the time that we're in now
Hmm.
because of all the robotics
Right.
and military robotics and all these other things that have been coming out in the market in like the last 10 years. So
Yeah. Pretty
Skynet,
terrifying.
Skynet is alive. We're putting all
Mhm.
these satellites up in the atmosphere,
Right.
in space, and they're not just there watching; they're up there doing things.
Yeah. We're setting ourselves up to obliterate ourselves eventually.
Yeah, possibly. So the movie now becomes almost prophetic.
Yeah. Or hopefully
If that's how you say
like
it.
a cautionary tale,
Yeah, it's
perhaps.
a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
So we're getting very close.
All right. Well, that's
Yeah,
pretty dark, but yeah.
yeah, I know.
But that's also a reason why I don't even think I put it on my top 5 James Cameron list, because it is kind of a dark movie. But I mean, it's great for what it is, but I just
Right.
don't revisit it that much for that
Yeah,
reason.
I mean, it was made as a dark movie, so
Right.
I mean, it's keeping up to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was cool. I kind of come from the future.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah,
concept is great.
yeah,
And Schwarzenegger, I mean, this is really what made him uh
yeah.
catapulted him even more than the Conan movies into stardom. So very good. Good pick. So my number 4 is the total opposite of that. Johnny Dangerously.
We're gonna have a lot. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I remember that movie. It was good.
yeah. Michael Keaton. It's one of his, it seems like one of his lesser known movies from the 80s, which in that era, like before Batman, he was doing pretty much all comedies. He started out, a lot of people don't realize too, doing stand-up comedy apparently, but never
Oh
made it.
yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember seeing a couple of his stuff.
Yeah, but he I think this is the best of his comedy movies from that era, like better than Mr. Mom and all that stuff. Um I just love how they really lampoon kind of I guess it was like the 30s and the 40s era of movie making. It has some great supporting actors, like Peter Boyle plays his boss, and then whoever the actor is that plays the nemesis is so funny how they make him curse without cursing, like when he says "you fargan ice hole," stuff like that. It is because he's like, I can't even remember where he's supposed to be from. I think it's Cuba or something, but yeah, there's so many good lines. And then Joe Piscopo also plays this kind of the conniving bad guy who is within the team on the mob, who he keeps getting hurt throughout the movie, and the running joke is my mother shot me once, Johnny, once. And
I remember that line.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so that's a great line.
yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. So like the movies you watch,
Uh-huh.
and they have a great line. You never forget the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's just so many great gags. It almost felt like a movie that the Zucker brothers would have made, like Airplane, because there's just so joke after joke. Danny DeVito even shows up in it and gets like attacked by a bull or something. There's just it's a pretty whacked out movie, but Michael Keaton's great in it, and I had to put it on the list. So, what's your number 3? Now we might get some in common, I think, in the top 3. We'll see.
Right. This one might be higher on your list. Number 3 is Ghostbusters.
Ah, yes, it is higher on my list for sure.
Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver,
Yes.
Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis.
Moranis is
Yeah.
great. You know what's funny? This was actually on TV last night, and I caught the last like 15 minutes of it. Basically from Stay Puft Marshmallow Man to the ending. And yeah, Rick Moranis, man, he almost steals the movie, like being the nerdy accountant that locks himself out of his
I know.
his own apartment and stuff. It's so
I'm the
great.
gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I got the key.
Right. Yeah, him falling in love with Sigourney Weaver, being possessed by ghosts and then turning into dogs and stuff.
It was just a wild comedy. I mean, you know, with Murray there in the beginning, like torturing people, doing
with the shock therapy.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, this was really like Murray. You know, he'd already made Stripes, and he was on Saturday Night Live. But this is the one that like solidified his status as just hilarious. And there's so many one-liners that he improvised in this movie, like the scene where who's the guy who's always typecast, who is in Die Hard as like this annoying guy who says, what's the line? He said, Bill Murray says, Dickless here turned off the power grid. And then the mayor says, is this true? And he says, yes, it's true. This man has no dick. Or something. Close to that anyway. But yeah, so great.
Yeah. Great movie. And, it spawned, additional movies after that.
Yeah.
And then they did another one with women Ghostbusters.
Right. Yeah. Not quite as good. And Ghostbusters 2, it wasn't nearly as good, but it still had some good parts. But yeah, the first one, I mean, there wasn't another movie like it when you think about how they kind of married comedy with horror. Like I when I was a kid and I saw it in the theater, it actually kind of scared me in some parts. But I was what, 6? So yeah, that makes sense. But everybody's great.
Yeah, the ghosts. I mean, you're actually seeing ghosts.
Right.
Yeah,
but then they have the cute ghost, the Slimer, the green blob guy.
Yeah,
they ended up making a cartoon show out of it, which I used to watch.
Yeah, but they had real ghosts in the library, and then there was that one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, where books are flying.
I would
around.
see that part being scary.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, they cartoons, lunch boxes. I remember I had the T-shirt with the ghost with the line through it symbol. The video game.
Even when you got bigger and it didn't fit, you used to wear it.
Yeah, I remember that. It was almost like a midriff or something. You could see my belly button. Ridiculous. And Andrea and I used to play the video game too, that on the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like one of those movies that took the world by storm in so many ways. Yeah. The soundtrack, even. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. The song.
And they had action figures too.
Yeah.
You could buy the ectoplasm thing.
Right. Yeah, the car, the hearse that they turned into a cool car. So yeah, and the whole concept of like paranormal activity wasn't anything new, but the concept of shooting them with lasers and trapping them in the device is like, what? Who came up with this? And it was Aykroyd, I believe, who wrote the script, who with somebody else. It might have been Ramis too, the two of them, which would make sense because they were like the nerdy figures in the movie. But yeah, that also the whole dynamic where they play the nerdy guys, then that made Murray even cooler, like this guy who just doesn't even care that he's a scientist, basically. But yeah, great. I could go on and on about that. Maybe when we get back to it again on my list, we will.
Okay.
So my number 3 will probably be higher on your list, I'm thinking. And it's Amadeus.
Yes, it is higher on my list.
Okay. I thought so. This is going as expected. So, yeah, great film. Was it Milos Forman that directed this? Uh, or am I wrong? I can't remember.
Yes, it was Milos Forman.
Yes. Okay. And yeah, F. Murray Abraham, which I think it's genius, just the concept that instead of focusing on Mozart as the main character, they focus on Salieri, the guy who wanted to be Mozart,
Yeah,
essentially.
actually, the movie was based on the Broadway play by Peter Shaffer.
Okay.
So it was originally a play that they turned into a movie.
Yeah, yeah. And it is really like a tragic story of how, this guy who wasn't he didn't have the talent of Mozart. He ends up trying to kill him because he's become so obsessed.
Yeah, well, Mozart had a really bad beginning with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like when Mozart was invited to the King's Court. I can't remember if it was Prussia or Germany, but it was like a dramatic thing.
Yes.
And Salieri, what's his name?
Uh I think it was Salieri. Yeah.
Yeah, Salieri, right.
Yeah.
Uh, he just composed a song,
Hmm.
and Mozart was walking in when he played it.
Right.
And then Mozart said to him, "Well, uh, yeah, would it be okay if I played your song?" And he goes, "But you just heard it."
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Yeah, it's okay." And then he speeds it up, with a
Yeah,
lot of
and he
notes.
improves upon it. Right.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
right in front of him. Yeah,
right.
that's such a great scene.
I know. And the king goes, and they go, "But it's too many notes."
Right.
The king goes, "Yes, it's well known that your ear can only hear a certain amount of notes. You play too many notes, it's not hearing them."
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's paraphrased, but yeah,
Yes, yeah.
thing.
So
So
great.
so that was the bad start. So after that, they were like,
Yeah.
competitors on and on.
Right, right.
Mozart wanted to write an opera in German, and
Hmm.
then Salieri convinced the king that he should do it in Italian, so he never
Right.
got it in German and stuff. So they were fighting back and forth.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then the
And
big thing was that it drove him crazy because he petitioned him anonymously to
mhm.
write a requiem.
Yeah, right. I remember. And then
And
yeah,
that was probably one of the most powerful things that Mozart ever wrote. And
yeah,
if
yeah.
you listen to the requiem from beginning to end, it is like totally awesome.
Yeah, and so it works on so many levels because it's like, yeah, he ended up influencing him on one of his greatest pieces of music. So he
Right.
kind of ends up taking, I guess, credit for that in his own mind, even though he's basically ends up in a crazy asylum later. But yeah, Mozart, Tom Hulce did a great job playing him
Yeah.
as essentially
And
a rock
that weird,
star.
I know that weird laugh he had.
Yeah, the laugh was great, and it showed that he was like in typical genius form, like also a womanizer, an alcoholic, and
Yeah.
having all these vices in his personal life, but then he was just able to do what no one else could do.
Yeah, he
So
was a genius. I
yeah,
don't remember. I think when he started playing or composing when he was like 5 years old, 5, 8, something
yeah,
around there.
something like that. Yeah. But yeah, I really, I mean, the movie has it all. Like, there's a good amount of comedy mixed in with the drama
Right.
and
And it won
great
8
music.
Academy Awards.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and of course the music is amazing. So, cool. All right. So my number, or I guess it's your turn to do number two.
Ah, Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, we got it together on two.
I figured we would.
Yeah.
To me, this is Eddie Murphy's best comedy.
Ah, okay.
I
I
think
I,
the,
I
I think the
disagree
first
on
one,
that, but it's
I,
my second favorite.
okay, but with the two cop movies, I would think that this was his better Beverly Hills movie.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comedy sequels hardly ever exceed or get to the level of the first one. But yeah, this is another one kind of like Ghostbusters in that it took comedy and melded it with another genre, this one being action, and it did it perfectly. Like, I would say, even the Lethal Weapon movies kind of learned from Beverly Hills Cop in a lot of ways, because you had that kind of buddy cop film dynamic of between Eddie Murphy and the other two guys, Taggart and what's his name? The Judge Reinhold plays
Yeah. So
Billy.
I don't remember what he played.
Billy Rosewood. That was his
That
name.
was it. Yeah, Rosewood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and like they're the straight guys.
Right.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that Murray invades their territory, Beverly Hills. He's coming from Detroit because he's chasing somebody that is now in Beverly Hills, California.
Right, and he doesn't play by the rules whatsoever.
Yeah, Beverly Hills is so strict. They got all these stupid rules.
Yeah,
and Murray doesn't do any of them.
Yeah, Murphy, like
and he's teaching Reinhold all these bad habits.
Yeah, going to the strip club and all that stuff. Yeah, but it's like it's such a perfect vehicle for Eddie Murphy, especially because in every situation he gets into, he falls into a different character that gets him out of the situation, like where he pretends to be whatever, this celebrity to get a hotel room, or he's looking in the warehouse and gets caught by the security guard, and then he says, "Oh, I'm the security looking into this, so go get your boss," all that stuff. It's classic. And then, of course, the banana in the tailpipe gag that he pulls on them as he's ordering them food to go, and it's classic. And then the whole thing with it actually has some tension between him and the main criminal, Victor Maitland, who, by the way, his henchman, most people don't realize, is a younger Mike from Breaking Bad.
Really?
Yeah. I can't remember the actor's name, but he's the one that Murphy ends up like throwing him across the room in the restaurant scene. But yeah, he's great in it. And yeah, like when the big ending, when they go, kind of against all the rules once again as a team and go to the big mansion and the shootout and everything. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And Eddie Murphy showed you can be funny and cool at the same time. Yeah. And that was definitely, I mean, Trading Places was great, but this is the one that obviously shot him to superstardom at that point. My favorite Murphy movie, I'm sure we'll do a top 5 at some point, but Coming to America, which is the sequel's coming out this weekend, actually.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that movie.
Yeah, a lot of people I've noticed like either kind of love it or hate it, and that's what's happening with the sequel too. But
actually, I think it's on Amazon.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm gonna probably watch it this weekend to see what I think. But
I think Amazon was the one that produced the movie.
Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not going to live up to the original. But if you didn't like the original either, then
well, if they're spoofing the original, it might be funnier.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's got a lot of the original cast and everything, but yeah, it's weird to do a sequel that many years later. So, but anyway, yeah, Beverly Hills Cop.
I mean, the Brady Bunch had a very late sequel.
Yeah,
what was the one? Independence Day had a late sequel.
Right. Yeah,
I guess so. None of those movies were any good.
That's true. That's very true. So yeah, but Beverly Hills Cop, definitely. So what's your so number 1 for you is Amadeus?
Yes, Amadeus number 1.
and my number one is Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
obviously. So yeah.
And my honorable mention,
Mm-hmm.
which I remember watching many times with you,
Yes.
Romancing the Stone.
Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah, that was in the running for my honorable mention as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good one with Michael
Michael Douglas,
Douglas.
Kathleen Turner,
Yep.
and of course, Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Yeah, he was great in that, of course.
And this,
Yeah.
this was another one of those zany comedies. You
Yeah,
know,
kind of a comedic take on Raiders of the Lost Ark in a way. Like I guess 84 was a year that comedy was trying to marry all these different genres. Like this was the adventure comedy, you know.
yes, this was the adventure comedy. You
Mm-hmm.
know, getting the stone and
Mm-hmm.
like all the things that were going on. So first of all, they couldn't get the stone. Then when they got the stone, all the things that were going on, you
Yeah.
know, they were losing it. The
Yeah.
alligator,
Right. Yeah. The
you know,
alligator, I
you
remember.
know, you know, uh, the army after them. You know, they're like the Keystone Cops. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it was, yeah, that was a good vehicle for Michael Douglas too. And yeah, of course, Kathleen Turner, she was like at the top of her game at that point.
right?
Um, so my honorable mention was the Karate Kid.
Ah,
That's a fun one that I I've revisited a bunch of times. They seem to always be replaying that movie on TV all the time. And then of course they've done a spin-off Netflix series,
yeah.
Cobra Kai,
Did
many
you
years
watch
later.
that?
No, I haven't watched it, but
I
I've heard
haven't
it's good
watched it
though.
either.
Yeah, I heard it's good. I mean, I think it probably would be, especially bringing the character Johnny back into it. It's I guess it kind of pits them back together,
Yeah,
but without Mr. Miyagi, I don't know. Like
I
he
know.
was the heart of the
He
movie.
was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pat Morita, man, he was awesome,
yeah.
and the whole thing with
Wipe on, wipe on.
wipe off, yeah, paint the fence, and yeah, he makes him do all
Rashad?
those chores, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, all those things. They did the thing with the fly with the chopsticks.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the kid gets it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was really a great movie. I almost put it at my number five, but yeah, that's a good one. So
yeah.
cool.
I mean,
So
there was like really a lot of good movies in '84 that came out too.
yeah, yeah, it was definitely a stellar year. So this is going to be difficult to put our list. So it's I guess like either Amadeus or Ghostbusters is going to be number one. Should we do a letterboxed on that to see?
Yeah, we should do a letterbox.
I have a feeling you're going to win because the Academy Award winning film 4.2 for Amadeus and Ghostbusters. Yeah, I already know it's going to be lower. 3.8. So, all right, let's put Amadeus at 1, Ghostbusters at 2, and Beverly Hills Cop at 3.
That's a solid 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think so. And then from here, it's going to be Terminator at your 4 versus Johnny Dangerously. I have a feeling you're going to win on this one too. Let's see. Terminator 3.9. And I can guarantee you Johnny Dangerously is not going to have a high score here. 3.1.
3.1.
So,
Just out of curiosity, what's the bounty?
oh, that's a good question. Let's see. The bounty 3.4.
See, that even beats Johnny Dangerous.
Yes, yes, but it's not going to make it. Johnny Dangerously gets in at number 5. All right. I'm happy with this list.
Okay.
So let's read off the official list. The best movies of 1984. At number 5, Johnny Dangerously. At number 4, The Terminator. At number 3, Beverly Hills Cop. At number 2, Ghostbusters. And at number 1, Amadeus. Yeah. Great list.
Excellent list.
Yeah, I dig it. All right.
I'm happy with that list. Took us a while to get there, but
hey, whatever it takes, man. So next week we're gonna do 1985. Could be even a better year for movies. I don't know. It just keeps getting better. It seems.
Yeah,
80s was a great decade.
It's getting harder to pick.
Yeah, indeed.
Now I'm sure there was other ones that we didn't even mention.
Oh yeah, there was a ton of stuff
that we watched a lot in '84.
I'm sure
that was a good time for us because we just watched a lot of movies together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember. I mean, we watched Ghostbusters together many times. Amadeus, of course. Beverly Hills Cop. I must have rewatched that movie a million times, and definitely with you. So yeah. Good times, man. So I'll see you on the next one. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, what are you waiting for? We got a lot more coming. So check it out. And I'll see you on the next one. Love you.
Love you too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.